have Q&As that you probably already know who we are, but just in case you don't, Been There Got Out offers hope, guidance, and community to people suffering in or struggling to get out of relationships with narcissists and other toxic personality types, so that you can find the strength you need to get your sanity back.
And our camera's blurry again.
It was fine when we were setting it up. So this guy's going to be Googling this camera model and how to correct blurriness. But our content is good, so we'll power through.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm happy to be here this week and not in court again.
That's right. The 2 of the last 4 weeks, I've flown solo and gone on a little past when you would have preferred.
Nobody stopped him.
Long-winded.
Yeah.
But so we're back to our normal format today, and we have just 2 questions that got a lot of response.
Well, we have more than 2, but I limited him
today.
Yes, because there's so much to say. I mean, there's always so much to say, but these 2, well, the first one in particular is huge.
Yeah. So you're going to do a lot of talking right out of the gate because our audience has been so responsive.
Yeah.
So I'll ask the question. The first question today is, what kind of person does a narcissist instantly dislike?
Yeah. So this morning I posted this on our Instagram feed, and before it even started going public, we got like 6 responses from 6 different people, and since all day I can't even keep up. And so before I even jump into some of the responses we got from you guys, which of course spurred me to think of different stories I could tell myself, I wanted to thank our followers, again, our whole community, because you are so knowledgeable and so involved, and it's really impressive. And another thing is, like, you guys actually say stuff. You don't just put like little emojis in the comments line. Like, you actually give us meat that help each other, because I see a lot of you comment on each other's feedback. But the other thing that I'm impressed by, having been a high school English teacher in a former life, is that you are also very respectful of each other. And there have been times when people have disagreed and sometimes said something that could be really, what's the word? I'm thinking confrontational, or start combustion.
Right. I mean, we see that online all the time, like on Twitter and stuff like that.
Yeah, and instead of like jumping down someone's throat, you know, it's been like, oh, wait a second, please don't, this is why this might be interpreted in a bad way, a negative way. And people have apologized to each other. I mean, it is so impressive.
You've built a tremendous audience. You're over 4,000 now.
Yes, we hit the 4,000 mark. But anyway, but let's get to this question. So, what kind of person does a narcissist instantly dislike? This was interesting because of the word instantly in there, and you'll see why. So a lot of the answers came in the similar vein, and I'll just start off by saying that many of you agreed that narcissists immediately dislike somebody who possesses the qualities that they themselves don't have. Because remember, they're so insecure inside, no matter what kind of front they put on. So one of our followers, who is battling her ex-narc in court big time, she said that that she felt like the top trait that they can't stand is a person that is well liked by others, someone who is perceived as popular. Another one said anyone with the traits that they lack. So for example, empathy. They didn't say it this way, but I'm going to insert my thing: the ability to love, having high confidence and high self-esteem, and anyone who gets more attention than they do. And I think this also depends on what type of narcissist, an overt or a covert.
Yeah, because I'm hearing that and I'm like, well, I have a lot of empathy and I have a lot of friends. It's not like I'm, Mr. Popularity, but I had a lot of friends and she liked me in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So some of that doesn't resonate with me from my own experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen to this next one. So another person said anyone of the same sex, so it depends what gender, who is more successful than them, and anyone of the opposite sex that their partner thinks is attractive. And this was so important. They see everything as a competition. So before I continue with some of the readers' responses, I have to tell this story. And this also came up. as we were, doing a lot of the back and forth in the Instagram feed today. So a lot of you are not just dealing with one narcissist, but you've realized that their family often contains other narcissists. And the family that I got away from, the narcissist I was once married to, had a family with at least 2 other people in it, direct family members who I think were also narcissists, so different, a little bit different than he was. But anyway, one of them was what's called more of a histrionic type. And she, even though she was older, midlife, she still put a lot of attention on her looks. And one time we were out for lunch, I'll never forget this. So she was probably in her 40s at the time, and there was a young couple, probably in their late teens, that were sitting having lunch, and this sibling of my ex could not stop commenting on this girl's clothing and how she was wearing really revealing clothes, and she just started trash talking her, and it was like, who cares? Like,
right.
Why do you care about someone who is less than half your age? She just went on and on and on about it. And I realized later, even though, again, at that time I knew nothing about narcissism, it was because she didn't have that anymore. No matter what she did to herself, the whole age thing, like, she would never look like that. She would never get that sexual attention that young girl was getting. She couldn't compete. And it
I
drove
didn't
her
know that
crazy.
story.
Really?
I had never heard that one before.
God, 6 years? He didn't know that story. You're
No.
kidding. Really? Oh,
Yeah.
that really stood out to me. It was like she spent half the lunch talking about this stranger and how she was dressed and all this other stuff. It was really something to
That's
see.
interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so there's more.
Yeah, of course there's more. All right, another person said that her ex, who was male, loathed men who exuded confidence or alpha traits. It sent him into an immediate competition war. And that's exactly what I was talking about. So it's not just men, but that whole narcissistic competitive thing. This came up a lot, this next thing. Someone who is confident. Confidence, I think, might also be the number one thing that makes them feel threatened, even though, strangely, as a partner, they're often drawn to people who exude confidence.
Right. Well, because they want to,
Right.
draw that off of them.
Yeah.
Right? They want to improve their own,
Yeah.
how they're perceived by
Right.
having this person.
So I think that might have to do with who they're seeking as a partner versus once they're with a partner, like maybe, people that they feel like, I don't know if it's the same sex or not, but they feel like more of a competition with. Another thing that came up was someone who can see through their masks. Masks.
Math.
Yeah. And that, that was like a big one, which I'll get into a little bit later. There was one guy that was saying that his ex couldn't stand that he was a go-getter. And on top of that, so he was really self-motivated, which we'll also get into a little later with some of the comments. But he said that the person also couldn't stand that he didn't join her gang. Like he did, and I was thinking of that as like a flying monkey type, like where someone says their story and you're just supposed to believe everything and go along with it.
Yeah.
They hate that. And shortly after he posted this, another person said, yeah, anyone who doesn't co-sign onto their fairy tales.
That's well put.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. You think about all the delusion that they deal with. One of the first comments we got seemed so simple but it's true. And I thought about it, and this person said, someone who's happy. And even though it sounds so simple, I thought it was so significant because I thought about my own ex and how he became, I don't know if you know this, but he used to get really deeply disturbed when they were like people, especially in a group, laughing and having a good time, or at a dance or at a wedding and like enjoying themselves. He used to say, get this, he used to say it was all fake.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Right?
Because that comes up a little later in some of the responses I found.
Yeah. It's really something. It's like because he wasn't capable of just enjoying himself, that he really resented people who were able to.
And that's where our exes are different, right? Yours
Yeah.
was a covert and really kind of shunned. He wanted the attention of like one person. You
Yeah.
described, like really deeply connect with one person.
Yeah.
Whereas mine, I think of the group and a group laughing, she'd be fine with that as long as she was the reason.
Yeah.
She wanted
Yeah.
to be in the center of it and the loudest and the big laughing and
I
all
know.
that.
And mine hated never wanted to be the center of attention. Yeah. Didn't even want us to have like a DJ at the wedding because he didn't want to do like a first dance thing. But that's another thing. All right. Anyway, another huge theme that came up was how narcissists don't like people with boundaries. Like, so many people kept saying that. I didn't want to keep reading out the individual ones. But that's because that manipulation and control won't work on these people. And I was glad that another one of our followers and someone that we're a little friendlier with said that boundaries is such a critical thing that you also need to teach and model to your children.
Right.
And I love how she pointed that out, because boundaries are something you need to start teaching and learning from a really, really early age, not just when you're dealing with narcissists. Another person,
And that was my issue.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, all of
I
us.
didn't have boundaries.
yeah. I mean,
I had to
think
learn that, and I
think-
still struggle with it.
Oh yeah, I think it's our natural inclination just to trust and
Mm-hmm.
believe. Yeah. Somebody wrote that she said women who defend themselves they instantly dislike, and I thought of it as not just women, of course, but people who insist on being treated with respect. She gave an example of how her ex made fun of his own son for when they asked him for a dinner date with them. He said, "I need to check with my wife," and her ex said that he was a simp for having to ask his wife. Now, I don't interpret checking with someone as asking permission. Like if
Right.
someone asked me, "Do you want to go out on Friday?" I'll be like, "Do you and Chris want to go out?" I'll say, "Let me check with Chris." Like
Yeah.
if he's free. So yeah, that was interesting. Another person was talking. I thought this was a great answer too. She said, anyone with any needs, wants, or emotions, they want happy all the time. And it's like they can't be bothered with someone else's needs and emotions. But I think that maybe comes a little bit later on in the relationship. We're scrolling through more of them. Someone who sees right through them, someone they can't manipulate. And another person said that her ex didn't like her sister because he knew that she knew a lot of what had happened inside the home. And I thought, yeah, they don't like anyone who could expose them
Right.
and expose the truth, who could really call them out. Anyone who stands up to them, who challenges them, someone who can see through their, I don't know if we're allowed to curse.
No,
Okay.
no, we have a
Bleep.
brand. We have a brand. We're going to stay on brand.
Okay. You can imagine.
Professional.
All right. And of course,
You could just say poop.
okay. Poop is not my style, but
No.
definitely. But I'll stay clean. You can imagine. Someone who holds them accountable for their behavior, and people with good BS radar. That's another one I liked. And another one that I really liked was someone who is a non-conformist, which is interesting. And also makes me think of this family member. They feel attacked by those who follow their own path. Now, this is making me think in my own life how my ex's sibling, in the 20 years that I was with her brother, well, I just gave away what she was, girl, a woman, she never asked me anything about my life. And I am a nonconformist in general. I kind of follow my own path. And it was like she didn't want to know. And I always thought it was so rude. Never even, how are you? What's new with you? Not once in 20 years. Think of all of the holidays and all of the lunches and dinners together. Not interested, didn't want to know. And when I would talk about things that I was doing, she didn't want to hear it.
I mean, you saw her a lot, right?
All
'Cause
the
she was
time,
local.
weekly, practically. Yeah, never, didn't want to know anything about that. What else did we say? People who stand up for them, they hate being ignored, anyone who ignores them. Anyone who insists on their being patient, who tries to slow them down because they want things now. Another thing, this was really, really interesting. At first, somebody said they hate weak people. They see no supply. And I was like, okay, that you mean they want people that they can get something from. And she said, that's right. I almost said confident, independent people, but no, those people are attractive. So they're going to be the people they break into pieces and hate in the end. But at first sight, they hate the weak and insignificant. I thought that was so interesting.
And that kind of resolves what I was talking about before, where like I was, not popular, but I was
You could
I had
say
a lot of friends
yeah.
and all that, and she liked me in the beginning, I think, because it reflected well on her that
Right.
she perceived me as somebody who enhanced her image.
Well, so she could socially climb with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot still with this, but we're just going to go on a little bit longer. Any real person who got everything real, which they only could wish and pretend to be. And I was thinking, yeah, because what is underneath that mask that they have? It's like just a dark hole.
That's interesting.
And then also anyone with real, again, the word real kept coming up because we know that they're fake. Anyone with any real talent, originality, or the ability to not be interested in anything the narcissist has to say, or not having anything that the narcissist could use to his or her advantage. So basically, secure individuals who don't give a bleep about them. And then I'll wind up my end and give you a chance to talk, even though it's been 16 minutes. But one of the specialists that we really like, who's on Quora a lot, she's a psychologist in private practice in New York City and also an author. Her name is Dr. Eleanor Greenberg. And she said that part of the reason why narcissists don't like certain types of people, successful people, is because they see you as a threat to their status and it worries them. So anyone who's successful, they get jealous of it because they wish that it was their success instead of yours. And they get angry because, again, it touches on their own insecurity. Other people's success reminds them of where they believe they themselves have failed. Yeah, so there's so much meat there. There are still like loads of comments coming in about this question, but you guys keep talking amongst yourselves like I can't keep up with you and keep going.
They dislike a lot of people.
They do. I think it's their nature to dislike.
So I found a couple of really good answers on Quora where I spend more of my time. One person said that it seems they cringe at open, honest, self-sufficient, self-reliant, happy, healthy, independent, authentic, there's that word real again, right? Humans that possess self-love and confidence.
That kind of sums up so much of what our people said, yeah.
Yep, narcissists hate people who don't need them. Narcissists hate people who are impervious to their tricks, traps, induced conversations, and manipulations.
Induced conversations, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I thought that was a good kind of summary.
Yeah.
But another person said, and this was interesting because we usually deal with people who are in a romantic relationship most times.
Yeah.
This person was talking about a friend, and she said the female narcissist I knew who was a friend hated people who have healthy emotional boundaries. We talked about that, right? Would not engage in gossip with her.
Interesting.
Right. Challenged her on any of her opinions or assertions, even on really benign, minor points. Who didn't always agree with her,
Fits.
who didn't allow her to control social outings together, people who were assertive, people who have healthy self-esteem, that one obviously came up a lot, or someone who is getting complimented by others.
Oh, that is, that's touching off on my memories again.
Okay, we talked enough.
I know.
The people she hated and called boring or fake, and that's what you made me think of earlier, and not worth my time were actually people with healthy boundaries who were nice, normal, kind people who did not want to get involved with someone who presents as a nice, normal person initially, but gradually reveals themselves as a mean-spirited gossip who has nothing nice to say about anyone or anything, even her last true loyal friend.
Yep.
She went on to say, this narcissist hates people who she cannot control, who don't put up with her manipulating. Anyone who has something or someone she is jealous of is slandered. And a really simple answer, and this is like the first thing I wrote, right? It's someone who sees right through them and calls them out on their crap.
Okay, so we're allowed to say crap.
We can say crap.
We can say crap. Okay.
All right.
All right.
So that's really it, right?
Yes. Okay. So
So-
on to question 2. This is why I was like, only 2 questions. 2.
I'm on board.
Okay. All right. So should you want to ask the question?
Sure.
We'll talk a little bit. Okay.
Sure. So this person said, my mother-in-law just made my daughter a big photo album and left me out of it. Why?
Yeah, this question came in like a week ago. Interesting. Yeah, somebody really liked. I had touched on how we're going to mention that question, and somebody gave a little feedback on that. Let's see. So with that, so I personally don't have experience with a mother-in-law because my mother, who would have been my mother-in-law, had died before I met my ex-husband. But in speaking with others about this very interesting dynamic between normally a narcissistic mother and a son, in this particular situation, I've heard over and over that the mother-in-law perceives you, the female, as competition. And so this follower who could relate to this situation said that mother-in-laws will compete with you at all costs. And other people have referenced that they often feel like your husband, so their son is almost like their husband. Is that clear? So the narcissistic mother treats her son as though he's a partner in some ways. And we'll get it. I'm sure you have.
We
about
talk
that.
well. We talk about that with my kids and worry that might happen down the road.
Right. And we also, I think when we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago regarding the relationship of some of the narcissistic parents to their children, we got into a little bit about that. So we know that narcissistic parents, not just mothers, see their kids as supply. So why not their grandkids? So, mixing in with the competitive nature, why, wouldn't they try to get their own grandchildren to love her more than you, their mother? And I have seen in my own family, older relatives triangulate and like trash talk other close relatives to make themselves like they're the closer ones, even though they're not in the nuclear family. They try to make themselves more likable, wiser, and they're always putting someone else down. And I think that part of the reason with this photo album that she sort of erased you or you got canceled is because
We're so current.
we're so trendy, is because you're perceived as a threat. Like she wants to make it like she's the one that matters, her son's the one that matters, and you don't count. Yeah. So yeah.
This makes me think of something a little bit different that my ex did that always struck me as strange. And in my marriage, I was always the one that did the Christmas cards. I'd take a picture of the family, and that would be the image on the card. I would send it out to our list, which is much smaller than your list. But I would try and take a picture of the family in front of a Christmas tree. So we wait for one of the, a lot of times it was a local school would in their atrium have a pretty tree, and we would go there. But she resisted taking this photo every single year. And it was like pulling teeth to get her, like just to find a few minutes to do this simple thing that would allow me to get this task done.
That's so weird. I would think the opposite, but keep going.
Yeah, and it got worse like over the years as the relationship deteriorated. And I think, in both cases, so the one who asked the question and in the situation I'm describing, it was about power and control. And, narcissists do these like bizarre things that either like knock you off balance, or like, why are they doing that? And it gets you like twisted around, right? Or in my case, it made my life difficult. I was responsible for doing this thing. And you know how it is with Christmas cards. You end up sending out on December 29th.
Right. Happy New Year card.
Yeah. And I was just trying to get a nice photo of the family to get the Christmas cards done in a timely way. And it was just she interfered with it. But looking back, I think she enjoyed my frustration. She liked the reaction she got from me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I bet it's the same thing with this person's situation.
Yeah. Now I'm going to wander just a tiny bit farther afield from the original question.
Okay, but before you do, so I was going to say the mother-in-law is enjoying seeing that you're hurt about this. She's enjoying your reaction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, now you can wander, Chris.
So yeah, and then one thing I've noticed since my relationship with my ex ended is that she takes pictures of me. Like I'm rarely
Yeah.
in the same physical space with her.
Yeah.
Right? But like in a doctor's waiting room or something like that, she'll take her phone out and take photos of me. And she did the same thing to you
Yeah.
when we were first together years ago. And she'd take pictures of you, of your van, when it was parked here. And it totally, that just to me feels like a power and control thing too. So like she does it to make me uncomfortable, right? But it's just weird and creepy and stalky.
Well, she did this, and then she said at some point years ago she had like 1,000 something pages of evidence.
Oh, I remember.
I don't know what that meant, but
Yeah,
whatever.
I think it was 11,000 pages, she said, something like that.
Okay.
That she's gonna, I guess, bring me back to court or something like that.
Yeah.
But so those are the two, and you're 100% right. They filled up the time.
Yes. Typical.
But keep the questions coming. We're very easy to find. Lisa's all over Instagram. You know, you just go to our site, and there's a contact us. You know, our Facebook page, Been There, Got Out. So just put it in the comments to this, and we'll scoop up those questions, and we love them because we want to be answering the things that are important to you and relevant to your
And-
situation.
Yeah, and some of the questions that came in today and yesterday, like we will put them at the top of the list for next week and try to get to them.
We
And-
have a queue.
Yep, keep sending stuff.
So thanks so much for coming, and we'll see you next Thursday at noon. Take care, everybody.
Bye.